The day has finally come. If you guys have been watching my channel for the time I've had a YouTube channel, I'm sure you'll be familiar with this car. This is a 2021 Ford GT Carbon Series. We've been storing the car for a year and a half now, just getting it ready for sale. It's finally sold. It is going to a large collection in Florida to join several other Ford GTs. That'll be on display. We sold it over the weekend. We've received money. It's shipping out tomorrow. So I thought I would just make a quick wrap-up video, kind of going over the higher points of the car, highlights of the car, and yeah, just kind of a recap before we say goodbye to it. So like I said, this is a 2021 Ford GT Carbon Series. You can tell a Carbon Series Ford GT by the exposed carbon stripes and also these carbon A-pillars. And from my understanding, most of the GTs from 2020, 21, and 2022 all got the Carbon Series option. Like all the other Ford GTs from 2017 up to 2022, whole thing's carbon, all the body panels are carbon. This stripe, they actually just mask it off and don't paint it to get the exposed carbon, but you can see all this bodywork's carbon. We'll open the door here in a minute. The doors are carbon, the tub is carbon. I mean, you can see the dashboard here. Everything in this car is carbon. Makes it very light, very fast. Fun fact, these mirror caps from the factory are not carbon, they come painted. This car had them optioned to be carbon. It is $10,000 on the window sticker to get the window caps in carbon when the entire rest of the car is already carbon. Carbon fiber wheels with the optional titanium lug nuts. Very cool. Carbon ceramic brakes, obviously, with those cool blue Brembo calipers. They tie in really well to the blue stripe and also the blue interior. You guys don't quote me on this. Ford North America told us that this car is a one-of-one spec, being a 2021 Carbon Series, and these color combos with the blue stripe, because most of them will have this body color stripe between the carbon stripes and the blue interior. So I'm sure there's someone with a Ford GT registry who can tell me that's wrong, but that is what Ford North America told the owner of this car when it was ordered. So, like every other 2017 to 2022 Ford GT, this one is powered by a 3.5 liter Ford EcoBoost V6. Kind of a much maligned power plant by the car enthusiast community. Oh, why'd they do a V6? Why didn't they do a V8? It makes no sense. This car is a homologation car for endurance racing in the GT class at Le Mans. So, when you're endurance racing, time you spend in the pits is time that you're not out on track racing. So they wanted something that was economical, you know, going with the EcoBoost V6 instead of the V8. Also something that was small. I mean, look at the packaging in this car. Look how it tapers in on the sides and how that V6 is just snuzzled in there. Obviously V8 is a bigger, heavier power plant, which is kind of the opposite of what this car wanted to do. Plus, it's a marketing thing for Ford, right? The Raptor has the EcoBoost, the Mustang has the EcoBoost. I mean, everything has an EcoBoost now. And so they can say, oh, look, we even put it in our race car. So yeah, the V8, while it would sound better, I think it would just make the car objectively worse in every other way if this had it. You can see the whole engine bay is carbon fiber. The engine cover is carbon fiber. It's so light they actually only use one prop to hold it up. They don't even need to use two. I mean, this panel weighs absolutely nothing. It is extremely light, as is this whole car. One interesting thing with the motor for 2020 forward, the GT got quite a few updates. So they made the Akrapovic titanium exhaust standard, which was optional on the 2017, 18, and 19 cars. They added a little bit more power, so they're up to 660 horsepower for that 3.5 liter EcoBoost. I think the prior ones made 620 or something like that. A little more power. The titanium exhaust obviously keeps it a tiny little bit lighter, but I mean, that's another reason why with the EcoBoost V6 and only making 660 horsepower, these cars are still so fast because they just don't weigh anything. One of the coolest parts of these cars is the door. So we can walk over here. The billionaire doors, the butterfly doors, like every supercar nowadays has. One of my favorite nerdy parts of this car, look at this door hinge. It's insane. I don't know if that's magnesium or what, but it is the most like over-engineered door hinge I've ever seen on a production automobile. You can see the carbon tub there, the door hinge is bolted to. And right here, the whole sill is carbon fiber. When I say this whole car is carbon, I'm not kidding. Doors all carbon, you can see. Again, very light. Moving on to the interior here. One of the coolest parts of these cars, the steering wheel. Very much like a Le Mans prototype car, all of your controls are on the steering wheel. Nothing behind except your paddles, so nothing's in the way when you're racing. One thing you'll notice in this car that other GTs don't have, this has the upgraded Lightspeed interior. So you get the blue Alcantara in the interior, this little patterning on the seats. A bunch of the GTs that have gone through auction recently have the base interior. I think this one to option is something like $30,000, and I'll show the window sticker later in the video. Yeah, that's just another cool touch that this GT has. Unlike most supercars, this car doesn't have a front trunk. I'll actually show you guys what's up front. There's a little release right there. So just this little centerpiece opens. The whole front doesn't even open. And that's it. That's the front of your Ford GT. Windshield washer fluid, brake fluid, no storage at all. I mean, you can see your steering rack, your steering assembly, some of the suspension components down there. This panel again, carbon, weighs absolutely nothing. You can see your fans down there to pull air in through that radiator. The only storage you get in this car, right here, if you push this, it's your engine bay release. A little trunk. That's all you get. And obviously it shares space with the engine bay, so it gets hot. So whatever you put back there is gonna get warm. And you can see you have your toolkit, which takes up most of the room. Clips for your battery tender, all that stuff. So not the most practical car for long journeys. There's literally nowhere to put anything. Another cool little aero detail of the car. This car is extremely aerodynamic. The entire underside is just a flat piece of carbon. I believe Ford quotes the top speed on these cars as 216 miles an hour. So it's much faster than cars that make more power than it, mostly down to the fact that it's A, so light, and B, so aerodynamic. And so now let's climb inside. Oh, I'm 6'1", so that's quite a chore for me. But yeah, here's the steering wheel we talked about earlier. Windshield washers, intermittent wipers, turn signals on each side, cruise control, kind of hilarious in this car. Turn signals, or no, I'm sorry, these tab through the menus. Volume for the radio. This controls all your Ford Sync stuff. Oddly enough, this car does have Ford Sync, like any other modern day Ford product. I'll insert some footage of that. 2 USBs for charging your phone. This is really the only place to put a cell phone, that little grippy rubber pad. Beyond that, you're on your own. There's nowhere else to put anything. No cup holders in the car, obviously. It's pretty Spartan in here. It is meant to be lightweight. There's the chassis code for the car. So fun fact, every year they got a new letter designation. So M tells you that this is a 2021. I believe the first year was H. There was no I. And 113 is this car's chassis code among the 2021s. So that's a quick way to tell what year and which chassis of Ford GT you're looking at if you're looking at one. We'll pull the door shut here. Very light doors, they shut really well. I really like the blue Alcantara on the dash of this car. It's a really cool touch, a really cool way that this car was ordered, and obviously it ties through to the doors and into the seats as well. These seats are actually surprisingly comfortable for as small and as tight as they look. I'm 6'1", and I am not the world's smallest guy, but I fit in them pretty well. You can see your engine back there, that 3.5 liter EcoBoost. So I'm not going to start this car because it's sold. I have plenty of startup videos of this car on my channel because we've had it for 1.5 years. I'll insert some of them here. You can can see it's got a whopping 28.3 miles. I put about 7 of those on it by myself. And so we'll wake the car up. You can hear it clicks and whirs and bangs. It's very much a race car experience in here. They really did not do anything to refine this car because it is just a homologation car to go racing. They did not really care to give it road manners. Like I said earlier, this does have this just traditional Ford Sync system. It takes it just a second to wake up. But this is very similar to the Sync that you would get in an F-150, in a Ford Escape. I mean, anything like that. It's very interesting. Touchscreen's fairly responsive. I think this even has CarPlay, which is wild considering how aggressive this car is, even in the realm of supercars. I mean, these things are wild. It's in this car are fixed to the carbon tub. There's no way to move them. So what you do is you pull this little lever on the side of the center tunnel that actually moves the entire pedal box to where you want it to be for your feet, and the steering wheel moves. There's 2 different levers on the steering column here that is your tilt and your telescope for your wheel, so you can get it to exactly where you want. These paddles, even in the realm of supercars, feel very expensive. They're like machined. I would assume they're titanium. Maybe they're aluminum. I'm not sure. But they feel very expensive, very nice. Much better than the plastic ones you get in a Ferrari. Unless you option the carbon ones in a Ferrari, but even then you're paying so much more money. The dash is fully interactive. So you can see now we're in sport mode as denoted by that S. Go to N, which is normal mode, if you can even imagine this car having a normal mode. Wet mode for those brave souls that are going to drive it in the rain. VMAX mode. This is a very cool one. It's not one you go to it, but that makes the car as slippery as possible. So if you're drag strip racing or something, you can achieve that 216 mile an hour top speed. If we go all the way through to track mode, again, it won't go into track mode because the car's not on. That lowers the suspension, puts the wing up, drops the car almost instantaneously down. I think it's something like 20 millimeters. It's very jarring when you're in the car because it's immediate. It just goes up, goes down. And when you're ready to get out, turn the car off. You're going to start-stop button there. Comfort suspension, nose lift, stability control off, and hazard lights. Hopefully not something you need often. And then once you're ready to get out of the car, little thumb button here that you can see. Push that. The doors are very light. Once they start pushing, that strut basically just opens them. So you just give them a little shove with your elbow and they open themselves. And that's one cool thing you get when you buy one of these cars. Daytime running lights are cool. One cool thing you get is you get photos of the car at the factory in Canada. The factory that builds these cars for Ford is called Multimatic. They build race cars. Ford contracted them to build this car. You have your front license plate bracket and all the mounting stuff. Battery tender box, your keys. Literally just typical Ford keys, except they say GT on the back instead of, Bronco or Raptor or whatever. Car cover, but this is what I was talking about. You get this very cool book that shows everything about the car when it was new, when it was being built at Multimatic. There's your window sticker. MSRP on this car when it was new. $668,950. This car has $66,000 in options on it. So like I said, you can tell that Lightspeed interior package is $30,000. Carbon mirror caps, $10,000. Yeah, if you've never seen the window sticker of a 2017 to 2022 Ford GT, there you go. And this is what I had mentioned earlier that you get from the factory. They actually send you photos of the car being built at Multimatic, which is pretty cool. I'm not gonna take these out and get them all fingerprinted up because, like I said, this car's sold and it's going to another owner, but this is actually our second Ford GT that we've had here of these new generation ones. And the other one came with the baby photos as well. Then you get a general info sheet, which I guess is something from the factory that they did as well. That just shows all your options, how the car was built. Has a little sticker for your chassis number again. But really cool. I mean, when you buy a $600,000 Ford, it's cool that they throw all this stuff in for you. It makes it feel a little more special. And like you do with every car that has these doors, I feel compelled to do the shot. Yeah, there it is. There we go. Anyway, there we go. Saying goodbye to our 2021 Ford GT that we've been lucky enough to have here for the last year and a half. This car's been featured pretty heavily on my channel, so if you want to see any other videos, anything like that, feel free to click through and see what I've got. I've done startup videos, I've done videos of the suspension dropping. I just don't want to get into all of that today because this is not our car anymore. This is somebody else's car, so I'm not going to get in and play with all the buttons and settings and stuff like that. We'll have new and exciting cars coming all the time that I'll do videos on. So if you guys want to see those, make sure you subscribe, like, comment, you know, do the YouTube thing, ring the bell to get notified. Tell me everything that I got wrong about this car. Tell me everything you know about it that I didn't mention. Make sure you do all that as well. So thanks for checking it out, guys. We're gonna miss this 2021 Ford GT, but like I said, it's going to a big collection in Florida that I know also has a YouTube channel. So hopefully they'll do some videos on it as well.